What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review for Love and Marriage Huntsville. Unfortunately, season 3, episode whatever. It'll be in the description box. But unfortunately, this is the season finale because COVID shut production down. So I'm going to say this is season 3, part 1, and we're at the mid-season finale because they left us with a lot of unresolved stuff. We start off with Melody having press day for the play. They were taking their pictures for for press, and then they also had a full dress rehearsal, off book rehearsal, not dress rehearsal. I'm sorry, off book rehearsal. So unfortunately, Melody did not know a lot of her lines. She flubbed a lot of lines, and they had to give her a lot of her lines. And she took it. She understood and she felt bad for it. She said, I feel bad. I don't want to let everybody down. I know I wasn't my best, and so I have to really get on it. Unfortunately, I'm pretty certain the play was probably shut down. So you got time to learn your part. So then we have Marceau and Tisha. Y'all, they exhaust me. They exhaust me. So we get they so she's having a conversation with Marceau. He's back home that she felt uneasy about, that they started on the phone the other night, about him feeling alone. And he said, listen, at this point, I'm doing everything by myself. I get up in the morning, I go to the gym by myself. I'm at work by myself. When I travel, I'm traveling by myself. When I come back home, I'm still by myself. Because why? You're out, you're doing things, you're at events, you're in school. And again, and the one thing that Marceau, and she said, well, I want to be a good wife to you. Tell me what I need to do because I want to be a good wife to you. And again, Marceau made a very valid point. Marceau said, you have to understand that you can't pick something up without letting something go. And that's valid. Now, the problem is going to be, and this has been the issue with Marceau and Letitia from the beginning. The problem is going to be, what is it that you have to let go? And where you all are as a couple with letting that go. And Letitia said something very important. She said, but I like the person that I have become, or that I am becoming. So what is it that we need to do to make both of us happy? I ain't no therapist, so I don't have an answer to that question. But that's an important question that y'all need to figure out. Marceau, you need to figure out what you are okay with, what you can sacrifice, what you are willing to give up. Letitia, you have to figure out, okay, I have found this for me. I'm in school. I've done this and I've done that. But there are going to have to be some things that both of y'all are going to have to give on. And I don't, like I said, that's the good answer. I mean, that's a good question that I clearly don't have the answer to. But that's what y'all are going to have to figure out as a couple, because it wears me out to see where y'all are going. Because just like the Holtz, I feel like y'all are arguing over the same thing because y'all haven't come to a good place of understanding and figuring it out. So there's that, child. So then Melody and Martell, they have the weirdest conversation. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, because I just don't trust this show and I just don't trust the production of this show. This whole conversation was awkward, and I honestly, if I didn't know any better, I would really feel like, did y'all film this after the fact so y'all could throw it in? Because it was so weird. Melody is getting ready. She's getting herself together and getting ready to go for Maurice's surprise party. Kimmy is throwing a surprise party for Maurice because he finally, he's finally done with law school. And he just finished taking the bar. He just took the bar. So, of course, they don't have his bar exam scores back, which he did pass, by the way. He passed the bar. But she's just celebrating the end of that chapter, saying, hey, we're done with him having to ride back and forth to law school, because he was going to law school, I think, in Birmingham. So, we're done with that part of what we were doing as a family. And Maurice and Martell was like, I'm not going to the party. And Melody was like, what? You're not going, so you're just going to send me by myself? He was like, I ain't sending you anywhere. You don't have to go. And he said, listen, he said, I called Maurice. I told Kimmy, no, I called Maurice because it was a surprise party. Let me take that back. He said, I talked to Kimmy and I let Kimmy know that I'm just not comfortable, and, Kimmy tried to get me to come, but, at the end of the day, she respects my decision. Now, last week, Melody was saying that she understood why Martell didn't want to come to the vote event, but now she's getting on Martell for not coming to Maurice's party, saying, why can't you just grow up? Well, hell, he could have grown up last week when it was time to do the get out and vote event. Like at some point, either you cool with it or you're not. Like, you can't pick and choose when you okay with him going or not going or being part of the group or whatever. So then, she was like, well, when did you talk to Kimmy? And he was like, she came by the office. She was like, Kimmy came by the office and you were by yourself? And he was like, yeah, like, he said, well, somebody was there, but then they left. He said, but it's Kimmy. I don't know. Kimmy like to be rubbing all over you and stuff. And I kept waiting for Melody to laugh. I kept waiting for her to be like, boy, I'm playing with you. But she didn't. Even when he tried to, like, blow it off and, like, girl, stop playing. I'm like, Melody, good and damn well don't nobody want your husband. I mean, well, not nobody, clearly don't nobody want. But Kimmy is not a threat. Like, I just felt, it was just awkward and weird. And it was like, when she said it was almost like she was reading the line, like, because you already know that was some bullshit. Like, good and damn well Kimmy ain't stunting Martell. Like, it was so weird. And then they got into this stupid back and forth argument. Well, you ain't never done nothing for me. And he was like, what? Well, you never done nothing for me. And she said, in the 12 years I've known you, you've never done anything for me. And he was like, well, you never done nothing for me. And I'm like, first of all, y'all sound like y'all 5. And second of all, y'all have done stuff for each other. So I just felt like it was just awkward and it was weird. And it was placed in there to show that to further show that they're arguing and they're not getting along. But that argument was just so weird. Like, you never done anything for me. Well, you never done anything for me. Like, are we 5? Anyway. So then we have the party. And it was nice. It was a surprise. Maurice was definitely surprised and everybody was there. And Letitia and Marceau actually ended up, okay, I got ahead of myself. So they had the party. Let me rewind a little bit. Because before the party, Letitia and Marceau actually had like a little moment. Or was that after the party? No. That was after. They had 2 different situations in this episode. That was after the party. So we're at the party, and at the party, Marceau actually sees the architect that's doing the plans for Destiny's build out for her salon. And he's actually talking to her about the plans and the price point and all of that. And now he's trying to sort of like throw the project off on somebody else. And he even says, well, I mean, maybe the host will be interested. I know they're trying to get into commercial, commercial architecture or whatever. And, I could sort of be their mentor. Well, first of all, y'all not even speaking. How you going to mentor anybody, Marceau? Second of all, okay, listen, this boiled down to Marceau didn't want to do the damn project. And instead of Marceau saying, I don't really want to do this project, he's trying to play that, oh, well, somebody else can do it and I'll just oversee and I'll just mentor them. But I really think that this is just say you don't want to fucking do it. Now, whatever your reason is for not wanting to do it, that's your business. Maybe you feel like she's not a personality you want to deal with. Maybe her timeline, you can't meet her timeline and you don't even want to have that situation. Maybe you don't want to deal with her because of her connection to the host. Maybe her price point is not what you need it to be. It's unrealistic. But just say that. Let me tell you something. That is the one thing that Destiny has said this whole season that I agree with. She said, if you don't want to do it, just say so. Then Melody comes over and Marceau starts doing that. Well, I think that, maybe you can, and listen. And Melody was Melody, because Melody was like, say what? Because Melody was like, how did I get in this? I don't know nothing about this. How did I get in this? And she was like, she said, no, the hosts are not trying to get into commercial nothing. We good doing what we doing. She said, and even if we were, you wouldn't be our mentor. Now, let me be clear. I don't know how deep that level of shade is. Meaning, if they were still on good terms, I don't know if she would still feel that way. Or if she just really felt like, listen, I wouldn't do business. Because at one point, y'all was all trying to do business together. But I'm with Melody on this one. Like, we're not even speaking. What are you talking about? How did I even get into this? How did the host, you know good and damn well, you and Martell can't agree. Y'all can't agree on what color the sky is right now. I know you don't think y'all would even be trying to work on a project together. And just like, and again, she asked you for an estimate. Either you could do it or you can't. And that's all you had to say was, listen, I got too much on my plate right now. Again, it could be a lie. So, of course, Melody starts throwing shade. And then here go Letitia responding. And Marcel is telling her, just stop. Just stop. You know, just because somebody, he said, why he gonna use the analogy just because she tell you to bark don't mean you got to do it. I'm like, why you have to use a dog analogy though? But his point was valid. Like, Letitia, just stop. Just stop. And mind you, Melody was being a little, she threw a little shade. She did. But Marcel, you sort of started this because you created a situation where Melody felt like she had to sort of defend herself. Because this ain't had nothing to do with it. Like, this had nothing to do with it. And the poor architect was like, how did we get here? How did this get this way? How did this even happen? How did we get here? You know? And Melody was like, listen, the architect you good with. I don't know, Marcel. You lost me on that one. I that whole thing confused me. All you had to say was, I don't want to do this. I don't have time. I can't fit it into my timeline. That's really all you had to say. That is legit. All you had to say was, I can't fit this in my timeline. Whatever. So then, you know, the party is over. Maurice was happy. Yay, yeah. So now Letitia is at the house and she is packing for Birmingham. Remember in the last episode, her friend April asked her to do an event down in Birmingham to speak at the college. Now Marcel comes home and he's like, he didn't know nothing about it. And she said, yeah, I told you about it. And he was like, so you about to be gone for 3 days? Like, you didn't. And again, I don't know how much of this is communication or how much of this is Marcel just hears what he wants to hear and he connects what he wants to connect. Because she was like, well, I told you. And he said, well, you know, you got to do better. Like, you have to make sure that I know that what I'm doing and I know the recognition of what's going on. Like, you need to make sure that I got all of that. And so Letitia is like, whatever. Like, I told you, it is what it is. He was like, so I just got to get a babysitter or something. She was like, do what you got to do. I told you I was going to this event. She was like, you could come with me. And he was like, nah, I'm good. So then the phone rings and April calls to let her know that the event has been canceled. So we're seeing the beginning of COVID. The event is canceled because of COVID. And literally the event is the next day. And so Letitia was like, well, I can still go. And Marcel was like, no, like, you can stay here. Like, again, she said, well, I can go visit my family. I haven't seen my mom in a while and my brothers and stuff. And she was like, well, you can come with me. And he was like, yeah, no, I'm good. She said, well, you know, they always ask about you. And he said, oh, that's interesting. He said, so they run me off, but now they want to know where I am. And she was like, what do you mean run you off? And he was like, so you're going to sit here and act like you don't know that your family does what they do? My thing is that I don't know how her brothers treat him, but I mean, we see how the mama treat him. Like, I wouldn't go out of my way to be around Miss Wanda either if I were Marcel. Every chance I got, I would make sure that I'm not around Miss Wanda. I don't give a damn. So then she was like, well, what do you mean? Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. What do you mean about my family? So then Marcel, listen, I understood what Marcel was saying, but the words that he used were, I think anybody would have taken offense to. When you, the meaning behind other side of the tracks normally is not a positive one. Normally when you say we come from two different sides of the tracks, you're normally saying that they're lesser than you. Y'all are in a different class. Now, I think Marcel spoke. I don't think that was the best choice of words, but I understood what he was saying as well, that they just different. you know. And Letitia automatically got offended and got offensive. And I don't blame her, and I would have as well. You say to me, well, you know, we just from two different sides of the tracks. Well, what the hell do you mean by that, Marcel? I would have been offended as well, and I would have been upset as well. Now, the problem was, you know, he tried to explain himself, and when she didn't, I guess, get over it as fast as he wanted her to get over it, then he got defensive and was like, I mean, why would I say that about you? I mean, I've been homeless before. So what? You came from the projects. I've been homeless. So why would I ever point the finger at you? But then you turn around and said, well, yeah, I mean, I did tell you that, you know, I didn't see adults drink until I was in college. Like, we just grew up different. Like, you grew up saying that kind of stuff. We just grew up different. So don't sit here and act like you don't understand what she mean. And don't sit here and act like what she's saying is ridiculous or so far out of the realm of reality. Like, you know what she's saying. You know what you said. Just fucking apologize and say, you know what, I misspoke. That's not how I meant it. I understand when people normally say that side of the tracks. He's talking about well, why would you assume I meant the wrong side? And Letitia was like, listen, that insult has been used in the past at me. And so that hurts me that people take that and they throw it at me as an insult. And that hurts me. And get over it, sis. Just get over it. Like, you grown. Like, okay, so what? You got teased as a kid. So what? You got teased as a kid. And Letitia was very upset. I mean, she was crying. And then he was like, I'm not doing the tears. I'm not doing the tears because you're just doing too much over nothing. You making too big of a deal over nothing. And so, I don't think Letitia would listen. I understand where Letitia was coming from. I understand why she got upset. And I understand why she wasn't quick to get over it. You know, I 100% get it. Now, unfortunately, because of COVID, we never saw a conclusion to this. Like, that's pretty much where the argument ended. But honestly, I'm kind of with Letitia on this one. Because I feel like I probably would have done the same thing. I probably would have felt the same way, and I probably would have reacted the same way. So, I don't know with Letitia on this one, y'all. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Unfortunately, season is done until they can start filming again. And we'll see where we pick up, if and when we pick it up. Talk to y'all later. Peace.